Today is the 2nd of July. We are having a MicroProfile technical call. So please help out with the minutes. Let me share my screen. Share. Share. Yeah, please help put your name on the contributors. So it's I have one agenda. Basically, it's about MicroProfile 7 release. So we can click on the link and we can go through the specs. So it's for the registered client. So it's so Jim Kruger is here. Hi, Jim. And also James from Red Hat, and Adam Anderson. So 3 of them working together is really nicely. So it's basically it's a PR. This is for the release candidate. So it's that's kind of 4.0 RC2. Yeah, being released. So that's kind of the in the release. And then for tolerance, again, the 4.1 RC2 was released. I will add a link later. And telemetry also is today I announced basically we released 2.0 RC2. And then this is kind of for telemetry. This is quite a few kind of I mean discussions and etc. We worked through many kind of different issues. There's a good attendance. I know Bruno is here. Yan, also Bruno, Yan, myself, and also team from Oracle. Is all. I mean, we also is Piara, basically is also joined. So it's we have a great discussion. So it's that's a great collaboration for that. And also Open API. Open API has 4.0. I think RC3 they have. So also there. Got wrong. Yeah, so that's all ready. So I know Emerson, you create a MicroProfile 7 PR as well. Probably you have to rebase on the new kind of RCs. And also is I will review it. So if you rebase it again, and we'll try to review it yeah, later today or tomorrow. So it's there's one thing I think is in the past. So MicroProfile 6.0 and 6.1 JavaDoc was not produced. So basically, it's in the javadoc.io couldn't see the JavaDoc. If I go to JavaDoc. So as you can see here, MicroProfile 5 is here, and 6.0 and 6.1. 6.0, 6.1 is pretty much is kind of broken. So in 7.0, we need to fix it, and hopefully also we will try to. I mean, maybe it's trying to do a 6.1.1 service release to get the JavaDoc published. I know it's Arun. With the terrain also notice this. I think that need to be fixed. So Emerson, when you run the build and etc., and then we need to make sure we have a fully fledged JavaDoc. So that's let's see. Go back to here. So this is kind of the this one. So this PR in progress. So it's we next stage we need to basically stage all this kind of final release, and then it's kind of MP7 have a different basically, and then can stage the final release. So it's as for the time. So think the next tracking time. So it's this release candidate is all in place. We are slightly kind of the late on that. What is the component spec ballot? It's 7. So it's I think this is we are also running out of time. So this won't happen for the ballot. So it's basically the that's it. Oh yeah, this is ideally the spec can start a ballot before the umbrella the release of the ballot. However, since the spec using basically apart from I think Open API use the small right can do the CCR. I think it's also Jim. So for the REST client, we could use the REST Easy to do the CCR, right?
Yeah, that's the idea.
Yeah. So in this case, kind of the tomorrow we are a little bit. So I think we still have time. So it's this week, and I will help out a stage fault tolerance, REST client, and telemetry. I think it's we can start the CCR. Start the basically the staging the final spec and also the individual spec can create the CCR. However, for the fault tolerance, so it's we see whether like we can use the Open Liberty to create a CCR. I have to see whether the current basically available beta can pass all the TCK or not, or we have to wait until the MicroProfile 7 ballot. So the similar thing is for the telemetry. So Bruno, do you know is small right telemetry can pass all the TCKs?
Not yet.
Okay, so Bruno, we can discuss next week to see whether you will be able to pass the TCK next week. If you do, we could use a small right to release the telemetry.
Okay.
Yeah, if not, we have to wait, basically go to ballot together with the MicroProfile 7. So this is one thing. The other thing is originally we're trying to use basically Open Liberty beta available the pretty much 15, 16 July. However, there's some problem issue with the implementation. So the beta already basically is kind of all the code phrase, it won't be able to pass all the TCKs. So now is kind of the backup plan is to use BLESS, one of the interim release is a nightly build. We kind of make it pretty much is permanent, is alpha release almost like. And we keep the release and run through all the TCKs and pass all the TCK and make it be the compatible implementation and release the MicroProfile 7. So this is the backup plan. The other alternatively is wait for another 4 weeks and for the beta. So what people think? Any concerns? We use basically kind of different release other than beta to basically go pass all the TCKs and etc. But to add more information, like for example, Glassfish and for the Jakarta release, is no requirement. You have to use a beta driver or something. as long as there's a release. Any concerns?
Yeah, it must be an open source release that is public available and does not get removed, right?
Yeah, that will be kept somewhere. It's not going to be removed. So that's we have to bless that, and it's not disappear. Yeah, it's any time we have to keep it. So become an alpha driver, almost like. Okay, if no objections, and basically we are in the middle of fixing it, and hopefully we could even may not need to wait for 16th of July, and we might be able to kind of start next week. So it's once that driver passed all the, we would run through all the TCKs, pass through all the TCKs, we can start. So I will basically report again next week to see the outlook and how soon we can get a release out. And in the meanwhile, I will work with Jim and Bruno here to see whether can use small array, and I think it's for the rest of the client is pretty much already, Jim, you guys already decided to use REST easy, isn't it? Because Jim's already in the process of trying to create a CCRs. But I said we need to stage the release, and then etc. Right, Jim?
Yeah. James, as far as I know, is working on that. I'll double check with him to make sure, but I do believe that was always what we had planned.
Yeah, okay. I think with that, I can go ahead to stage your or the rest of the client very soon, and then we talk over Slack. So that's kind of the plan for the release. Let me see. I'll update this back. The release candidate we use Open Liberty and release. To addressing to pass overall MP overall TCKs. All individual facts with different input will satisfy for responding. Next action, stage component stack release. For tolerance, REST client, API. Okay, so that's the kind of the MicroProfile 7 discussion. So it's we will basically communicate via mailing list or the next week's call if more kind of problems or news being found. So the next agenda, so Yan put in. So Yan, yeah, go ahead to start the conversation here.
Emily, one quick question about 7.
Okay.
Do we have a sort of a what's new, what's changed in MP7 yet? Is there any kind of consolidated documentation?
Oh, the what's new in MP7?
Right.
Yeah, we will have a change log in the MP7 spec, and also each individual updated kind of the spec also have a change log. Let me directly show you, like for example, let me put MicroProfile client. For example, so it's towards the end. So there's the kind of all the release node. With this, and then for this release, I will also basically work with Ryan to create basically a similar page as the Jakarta EE thing. So here, like something like this. Basically, it's you create a MicroProfile 7, hopefully, or you create an individual specs. You will have the kind of the change listed. So I think it's so we haven't put things live as yet, but the things will appear somewhere here. So it's the next one is also Emerson. So it's the other things will kind of need to create a issue on the marketing for the MicroProfile 7. It's in here, so basically in the new issue. So it's like the release, yeah. So we need to do the kind of the platform release marketing request and then walk us through the list.
Okay, so but for now, if we wanted an implementation, or if we wanted to ask our community, hey, we have 7.0, there's release candidates out. Here's how to get the latest change list and work with it. I guess that looks like going to each of the spec changed or the RC specs is probably the best way to start that, and then work, basically drive out the any investigation from that. That's all right.
Yeah, that's sounds right. And also we have the basically the release plan. That's probably as much as you can get. But
Okay, right.
yeah, we'll
and then would the marketing team, will they be writing us sort of a slide deck for this, or do we leave that to?
Yeah, we have to produce the slide deck. So in here,
okay.
in this one, so basically there will be basically here update forum announce this blog post. We have to do a blog post, and also we have to basically here the blog post. In the blog post also has a link to the here presentation as well. Yeah, this is all need to happen.
Are you still sharing your screen, or is it just me?
She is not.
Oh, sorry. Am I? Oh, I'm not sharing. Sorry.
Oh, John, you beat me to it.
Firefox. I'm trying to find the right window to share, or this one. Maybe it's the Jakarta EE. Somehow my Firefox is kind of here. Share. Firefox. So it's in the So in here, can you see this is basically it's
Yeah.
yeah, in here like Emerson is driving this release. So it's basically you need to create this issue, and also is need to update the presentation, and also come up with a also need to draft a blog. So all this need to happen.
Okay.
Yeah, I know in the past, like I've done the presentation, Emily's done the presentation. I mean, I'd feel comfortable probably doing a couple of these things. But yeah, we should discuss this in the next marketing call.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
it's getting to that point where we're close enough where we're gonna discuss this.
Yes, I think now is a good time now because pretty
Yeah.
much component spec are ready to go. Now it's in our hand. So yeah.
Paste
So
that link in the chat, please.
yes. So I
Just so it's
let me
convenient.
just yeah.
So I'm gonna update the
Okay.
marketing meeting minutes for the next call.
Okay, here we go. So in the minutes. Welcome.
Awesome, thank you. There we go. Let's see here.
Yeah, so John, Emerson, and myself. So we will work together and for this issue, and then not only I mean, give Emerson everything to do. Are there any other? Does that answer your question, Ed?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, no problem. Are there any other questions for MP7?
Emily, if we can go back real quick, maybe you covered it already on the CCR. It was understanding that that had to be done on the final. So REST client, MicroProfile REST client 4.0 would need to be in the final version before the CCR is done. Was that a misunderstanding on our part?
You are correct. So that's why I said I need to stage it. So that's why
Okay, so,
I ask James not to create a CCR yet, because we have to stage it first. Stage it.
yes, okay. I must have zoned out on that. My bad.
Yeah, no problem. Maybe I should have saved spec final release. Yeah.
Okay. So you have kind of a rough ballpark of when the CCR will need to be done?
So it's we could next week. I will say next week.
Okay. So expecting it to be finalized here earlier in the week, and then
yeah, plan to stage REST client this week, and the same for fault tolerance and telemetry. OpenAPI has already been staged, but later on they found maybe there's a JavaDoc issue. They might have to restage it. But anyway,
okay.
so they
We'll just plan on trying to get the CCR done by the end of next week then.
Yeah, yeah. So it's today's the second, and yeah, it's still good.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, the next one is the relationship between Jakarta config and MP config. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, today in the platform call of Jakarta E, Arjan started the discussion about the planning of Jakarta EE12, which will be released in about a little bit more than 2 years, as planned. And the question came to specifications that might be added there, and Jakarta config is still on the list to be added, of course. And yeah, I told them what Roberto told here to the people about the issues, why that is stuck a little bit at the moment. And Dimitri was on the call, and we thought it might be a good time to have a discussion between the Jakarta config and the MP config teams to plan how to proceed a potential transfer of the spec or a subset of the spec, maybe with a refactoring of MP config before, as Roberto suggested, which he thinks is needed to fulfill the requests of the Jakarta community to support CDI with a configuration tool. I think I will ping especially Roberto and Dimitri and announce that on these two groups, maybe on this mailing list too. So everybody who wants to join can then join that planned meeting. John?
Yeah, I think many of you probably know how I feel about this topic. If the plan is to wholesale move the spec over to Jakarta, I'm pretty much wholly against that. If the plan would be to layer Jakarta config on top of MicroProfile config, I think that's okay. So, I think from a Red Hat perspective, developing a spec here and then moving it over, I see it as, we have a voting membership here, at $10,000 a year, and to get a voting membership on the config spec in Jakarta, it would cost us $300,000 a year, right? So we would lose the ability to vote, basically. So that's one of the reasons why I prefer personally not to move the wholesale, the spec wholesale over to Jakarta. So that's just, my initial thoughts. But a layered API, I think it's fine.
Yeah, I think the layering must be the other way around. So as Jakarta config will be part of the core profile, MP config could be based on that and enhance that if it is compatible implemented. The other way around will create a big discussion on the Jakarta side. But that will be part of that meeting, how to organize that technically first. From the organizational aspect, I can understand that, but also on the Jakarta config side, being part of the spec committee is one thing, but being part of the Jakarta config spec team that designs the config spec on the Jakarta side, there you can have the same influence as everybody else who is involved in the work that is done there, right?
But not voting influence. Etc.
Right.
So I don't want to turn this into a debate right now. I'm just kind of throwing out an initial thought that it isn't necessarily, at least from my perspective, a slam dunk. Is it worth a conversation? Absolutely. But it won't be just okay. At least from my perspective, I have conversations to have within Red Hat on this topic as well.
I think it's basically, I think Dimitri and I drove Jakarta config for a few years. We nearly give up actually, and then Roberto walked in and he's trying to basically reactivate. However, the current people trying to collaborate is just Roberto, and sometimes I'm quite busy with other things. So it's a frequent, just from time to time, I keep an eye on it. I think it's Yan from basically it's Oracle and trying to do some review. Now is not, I mean, in any stage to be released, to be honest. However, I think one thing is, this is my view, if Jakarta config conflict with MicroProfile config, I don't think it should add to the core profile, because that would be a lot of confusion. So we have to make sure they are compatible, so could be layered. But anyway, I think is after MP7 release, we can have the conversation. Maybe it's a better revenue either in the Jakarta config kind of the meetings, because that's the bi-weekly Thursday course, or in the MicroProfile technical course. Basically, the people working on that spec is pretty much pretty much in both groups. So I would say is we can have that discussion, and however, right now I invite people to go there to take a look. So it's two different kind of programming model.
Yeah,
So-
my intention just was, if the result is something incompatible between these two specifications, we create a severe issue and confusion for the community.
Yes.
And that should be prevented, and that's the intention. And it was, the idea was, have a meeting, to bring the people together, share the thoughts, and then start in these regular meetings with the work when it's time to do it. And start early enough so it can be part of Jakarta E12. And maybe some component specs can be based on that too, from the Jakarta side. And also a new version of MP-config could be based on that too.
Yeah, I think at the bottom line, we need to make sure it's compatible, and also is kind of, we don't create confusion. If anything, like a lot of confusion created, I don't think we should proceed with that.
And we have a program plan topic that is focusing that aspect of collaboration with the Jakarta people.
Yeah, I think it's good to basically have the conversation. But anyway, I think the people working on both specs is pretty much same group. Is better to have the similar view, and can go talk further, can have a further discussion. Okay, so that's good. I think it's for now we focus on the MicroProfile 7 and hopefully get this out for the summer, and then we will see how Jakarta config plans out, and then how to basically adding things to Jakarta config, and also is kind to how to make these things so compatible and etc. With that, are there any other topics people want to bring up? Okay, if not, you can have 22 minutes back, and talk to you next week. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Yeah.